All right, guys, here we go. 1 Peter 2:9.
1 Peter 2:9.
But you were a chosen race,
But you are a chosen race,
a royal priesthood,
royal priesthood,
a holy nation,
a holy nation,
a people for his own possession,
people of his own possession,
that you may proclaim the excellencies of
that you may proclaim the excellencies
of him who called you
of him who called you
out of darkness
out of darkness
into the marvelous light.
into the marvelous light.
This is a very hard, stressful time on a young man's life. So if I can help in any way, show them who they can lean on, which is ultimately Jesus Christ, then hopefully their transition in adulthood would be a much better, easier time.
It started over at the Mentoring Group building, which is a nonprofit after-school program here in town. And we actually put the roof on the building. When I say we, it was a group of men that came up for 3 weekends in a row. And so we roofed the building that they still operate out of now. And I just moved in and they let me use a couple rooms. And so I was the only one on staff. And so I did, we would tutor and with math and reading and their homework. And then I would lead a little Bible study. And it started off with 3 guys. From that 3, it kind of jumped to 6 or 7 guys. And one of the things that I did to kind of help recruit was I helped coach a Pee Wee football team here in town. And so once we kind of got 6 or 7 guys, and I realized that passing out crackers and juice was the money after we got done tutoring, our numbers jumped from that first year. I think we finished the year with like 10 or 12 guys coming on a regular basis, and that was 5th and 6th graders. After the first year of the after-school program, we started our summer program. And we had about 40 guys sign up for that. And then that was 6th, 7th, and 8th graders were able to do that. And then the following year, we actually moved into this facility. Because of the size of it and being able to play basketball and stuff like that, the numbers jumped from 10 or 12 guys to when we had 25 guys, 30 guys in here at a time sometimes. The crazy part is the guys wouldn't go to school some days, but they'd still come to us, which was that's a problem. That wasn't a good thing. And so we, once we realized that the guys were still not going to school all the time, they were still getting suspended, and their grades were not improving that much, we realized there had to be something done differently. And so at that point is when we decided to start the school. The hope is here in 2 years we graduate our first class, and these guys are have the opportunities to do hopefully whatever it is they want to do. If they want to go to a 4-year university, they'll have the hopefully the social skills and the academic skills to be able to go and be productive and be successful at whatever school they go to. If they want to go get a job, join the military, they will have been equipped with the skills to be able to do that. And then here in 10 years, we hope to be operating 7 through 12 and be a highly functional, competitive, successful private school here in Greenwood, Mississippi, with the idea of possibly, if God sees fit, is replicating this in other small towns throughout the Delta.
Whenever you realize we live in one of the poorest places in the United States, and we can sit in Sunday school all day long and talk about what we can do to disciple, what we can do to help, what we can do as Christians to get out in the world and be the example and be the shining light of Jesus. And when the school comes along and it's housed in our church building, I mean that's the easiest thing. I mean that's I don't have to be hit on top of the head with a hammer too many times, maybe once or twice to get my attention, but to say, well, this is an easy way to plug in and to help these young men.
The biggest issue with a school, maybe not the biggest issue for some people, but for most private schools, is just the financial aspect of it. How you're going to keep it funded. And it's been amazing where money just comes in. We're typically about 6 months ahead of where we need to be financially, and that's pretty much how it's been up until this point. So each time the budget got raised, more money would just come in a crazy way. And then the other, outside of the financial part, is the staff, being able to actually get qualified staff, and it's been crazy to see how God has provided with. I mean, our teachers are some of the best. I mean, I'd put them up there with anybody. And we got some teachers that have been teaching for 25 years. We got other teachers that this is their first year. Some of our teachers have been teaching for 3 or 4 years and are just crazy qualified and passionate about what they do. And so it just makes, they make our school what it is for sure.
I decided to teach at Delta Streets because I thought that I was able to work with the young men here in a way that would challenge them both academically and spiritually. And it was something that I wasn't able to do when I was teaching at Greenwood High School, to challenge them that both academically and spiritually. I would say one of the main challenges that we have here at Delta Streets is just trying to institute a new culture. When we're working with these kids, they're coming from a background in which they're probably not as used to the rigidity or the structure that we try to implement. And so the main challenge is getting kids to be on board with the structure that we try to provide them.
People are comfortable of their environments, and the environment that exists in the Delta isn't any different than across the United States. The difference is the scale. And when you have the scale smaller, those differences come out more and the unknowns come out more. Once you start patching those unknowns together and they become a known, it makes it much more easy to move forward.
Just the financial aspect of it can be overwhelming. Like our teachers, they trust that Delta Streets is going to pay them, and that's crazy big trust because, come January, there's not any money to pay them right now. That's just the reality of it. But up until this point, we've been able to pay our teachers every month. I got chills now just thinking about it. It's one of those deals where, the building we're sitting in now, Delta Streets owned because someone gave it to us. And the person that gave it to us, I didn't know before I moved to Greenwood. And even when we were using the building, I really didn't know Mr. Cannon, but there's a conversation had with a man here at the community kitchen that I was helping volunteer at that he heard what I was doing and said, well, I know someone has a building, and the next thing you know, he's showing me this gym right here. And it's like, man, this would be perfect for our after-school program. I could just go story after story. Having taught at Greenwood High School, I'm kind of known as the coach from Greenwood High, and so there's just credibility that came with that, to where it was okay for students to come and hang out because there was a little credibility that was. It was like God was moving during that time to our teachers. To how people send in money. Got a check yesterday for $5,000 from a family in Arizona. Just crazy. It's like, why in the world would someone from Arizona be sending a check to the Mississippi Delta? And we didn't even ask them for it, the one that really humbles me is the fact that the families, these parents, they trust us enough to send their child to our school, which is ultimately is their child's future. And the reality is there's a lot of other super functional and worthwhile organizations and ministries and schools to give to as well. When people think of poverty and need, they think of Mississippi Delta, and what a great opportunity to come into the heart of the Mississippi Delta, Greenwood, Mississippi, and be able to partner with a school organization with us to bring that change about, to then say to the world, hey, look, even in the Mississippi Delta, Greenwood, Mississippi, change can happen, hope can happen, and then with that, the hope of replicating that in other places. Our aim is to give these guys hope, and that there's a better way, and the system that they've been involved with up until this point hasn't produced a whole lot of hope And the only reason I can say that is because I was in that system for 2 years. And then, of course, just the gospel in general gives hope. And with hope, that gives you motivation to do all kinds of awesome things.